We will see how we can convert the portfolio data from P6 into the visuals. We will see how we can use the same model which we have developed for the project level, how we can use the same model for portfolio level. Before doing that, we need to go into P6 to understand the difference between the project level data and portfolio level data. So let's dive into P6 and analyze the data. So I'm in P6. These are the 3 projects which I will be using today as a portfolio. So we need to see a few things regarding the multiple projects, that what are the don'ts and do's we need to basically look after. So let's say if I talk about the portfolio level, what you need to do, simply you need to select all your projects which you want to analyze and you need to open them. Okay, so my projects are open all together. So this is my project code is project 002, project 1817, project G20. So these are the 3 projects. So if I talk about single project, if I have opened a single project, so there is no chance that the activity ID will be repeating, because it's a unique ID, you cannot repeat. So let's see, if I am in this project, if I copy this ID and if I paste here, similarly we have done this practice, so it will not allow me. But there is a chance that the same activity ID can be present in another project. So what will happen when we will take portfolio data from here into Power BI in the same model, so the activity ID, which is a primary key and unique ID, it will be repeating for Power BI. Power BI will say, okay, this is the one ID and there is another ID with the same number, same codes. So it will give an error. So now how we will proceed in this video, we will see there are 2 cases. First case, you are using the portfolio analysis for your past projects or ongoing projects. What happens, why I'm doing this, because maybe you don't want to change the activity ID. So what if you want to change the activity ID, I will suggest you for the future projects that if you want to make activity ID, always put the project code there, be it B1, A1, C1, whatever the project code is there, at least put in the start, so that the activity IDs are unique at portfolio level. Okay, because activity IDs are always unique at project level. So in order to make them unique at portfolio level, just put the project code in the start. It can be 1 digit or 2 digit to distinguish the projects activity IDs. In case you cannot do this, okay, so what you can do, basically we will see that how we can modify things in our existing model, so that the existing project where you cannot change activity IDs, for example, you have given the project to other multiple places, to project engineers, to all other people where they know activity ID and they are updating. So you don't want to change this, otherwise you may need to change at many places, so you want to avoid that. So in that case, how we can make the activity ID unique, so we will see, this is the one case. Or in the future, if you want to make, this is my recommendation, to add project code, so that your activity IDs are unique at portfolio level. So let's try first with the first case, that you don't want to change activity IDs and you cannot change activity IDs. So how we can do that? First of all, I will show you a few things, that what I am saying basically. Let's say this is the activity ID. If I copy that activity ID and if I go into another project and if I paste that activity ID, see, it is possible now. The same activity ID is present in this case, in this project which was there. But if I paste the same activity ID here, we cannot paste. So we saw that the activity IDs within the project are unique, but the activity IDs between the projects, this project and this project, can be same. So they are now, in this case, this activity ID is present twice, so this is not a unique case. So what we can do in order to avoid that, first, if in the future, always try to put project code to make it unique, or what we will do, we will see in the Power Query that how we can do that. First of all, one more thing, you can name, this is the project ID because this is unique. This project ID, if I copy that and if I paste it here, we cannot make, because this is also unique. So that means every project ID is a unique ID. So whatever the project ID, not necessarily that this project ID you should put in front of the activity ID, but you need to make sure that the concept is that at a portfolio level, project IDs are always unique. So you don't need to worry about that it will repeat, they will not repeat. So what we will do, we will make sure few things. we know that before extracting, let's say, a single project data, you always go into this and make sure that this project baseline is already assigned, because we know that the earned value management is done on the baselines. Okay, so if we are using multiple projects, so how we can make sure that the baseline we have assigned is the correct one? So what you will do, simply go into this, after opening all these projects, maintain baseline. So you have the option of maintaining the baseline for each project separately. If you do not find this option, because I am using the latest version 20.2 I think, and if you are using the previous version, you may not find this option. So what you can do that, simply the procedure is very straightforward. You will be updating one project at a time. So once you are updating this project, let's say I have opened this project only, I am updating the project like actuals, actual start, actual finish, percent complete, and I am going to run the schedule for this particular project. So I will be definitely assigning the baseline to this as well, the relevant baseline. So the baseline is assigned already in the previous versions I'm talking about. So let's say you have a new version, so things are very simple. You can check that all the baselines are available, so you can assign them one by one. If you open this project, so the available baseline is here. So if you open another project, the baseline will be changing, so you can assign that which for each project what is the baseline you want. Okay, this is the thing. Similarly, you need to make sure that the data date for each of the project is already selected. It can be same but not necessarily, so most likely it will be different for different project. If it is the case, so how you can make sure the data date for each project is selected relevant to that project? Definitely you will be updating this project one at a time, so you will be selecting the data date separately. So this option is available only in version 20, which is the latest one. In previous version, the data date for separate projects is not available. So once you select the project here, so what happens, the data date you select in older version, it is already selected for each project separately. So in that case, what you will be doing that, for example, if you are using the previous version, so you have ran the schedule for this project, your data date was, let's say, 1st January, so it will automatically pick. If the project number 2 has data date 2nd January, it will automatically pick. So in this case also, this is a newer version. The only difference is that now I can select the same data date for all the projects, otherwise the old version will not give you this option. So you need to make sure the data date for each project is selected and the baseline for each project is selected. So this is a simple. So now what we are going to do, we are going to do a simple case that we are going to run these projects. Previously we were using single project, now we are using multiple projects, and we will see if the same data for the projects can go into our Power BI model. So I will go into the reports. These are my reports which I am going to run. Okay, first of all, I will recall that in fact table, activities fact table, we have the activity codes. So previously we had for only one project. Now we are using multiple projects. So I need to, or you need to add the codes into this part for all the projects you want. If you have 10 projects, so you will be bringing 10 projects activity codes. In our case there are 3, so I will be bringing for 3. How you can do that? Using the same fact table report, go into modify, into this wizard, yes, from this use current screen, and we know that the fact table do not have the distributed data, so do not check here, just select activities, go here, and in columns we want to make sure that the activity codes for all the projects which we want to take like portfolio level are here. So in my case, the activity codes for all the projects are here. If they are not here, you will bring them from other places, means from activity for project level activity code or the global activity codes. So this is one of the project, this is the second project, this is the third project activity code. So all the activity codes are now available. So go there. So remaining things will be same, group and sort the same, no need to change anything, filters no need to change anything, only change in columns. Next, here it is asking for the name of the field. So what you will do is give the same name, activities fact table, so it will be overwrite. Next, save the report, okay, finish, okay. So now this report will have activity codes for all the projects. This is the thing which you need to do. So now I will be running the codes, running the reports and bringing the data into Power BI. select all, run, make sure from here first, from here second, select the path, let's say desktop, this, and this is the place where my all these reports will be filling. So yes, so I have ran the reports and all the reports are here. These 4 reports we ran into P6, now they are here. So what we are going to do, we are going to update them in Power BI. We are going to change the path or refresh that so that the data will be going into Power BI. So now we can find that there might be errors in the Power BI. So let's figure out if the errors are here, coming or not. So definitely we will be rectifying them. So first of all, I'm going to change the path. So how I'm going to change the path? This is the same procedure every week you will be doing if you are updating the project every week. So go into data source. I have selected this activities distributed. Go into data source, and this is activities distributed. I'm going to change that. I will be bringing the path from the desktop. This is the desktop, and from here this part, and these are my files. So I will select the path, copy, and now I'm going to change the path from the file before the file name. This is the file name, so I'm going to change the path. Okay, this is done. So now I'm going to change for fact table. Same thing, before the fact table file, change the path, paste that. I will go for resource IDs or resource assignment distribution. From here, paste that. So last is resource IDs. I will be doing for that. So there are chances that we will find the errors. Why? Because we know that we just saw that there is a chance that the same activity ID is present in both the projects, or multiple times it can be repeating in multiple projects. So if this is the case, Power BI will give the error. Why? Because this is a fact table and this part cannot have repeated IDs. So in case if the IDs are repeating here, so it will give us error. So then we will see how we can rectify the error in the future projects. Now you will understand why I was saying that for the old projects or the new projects, in new projects you will make sure that the activity IDs are never repeating in any of the project. But in case if they are repeating, so what we can do within the same model, so that to make activity IDs unique between the projects. So first of all, let's run, also refresh all the data. In the meantime it is refreshing, I will be discussing few things with you. Okay, so if you have opened multiple projects and if you go into profile and see, let's say your cost, all these things, so now it is showing for all of the projects. If you want to see for any single project, you can just go here and filter. I have filter for that. Project equals to, let's say, project 02. So if I click on this, so single project is coming on. So if you want to, for example, you are not sure that the baselines are selected properly or not, each project is bringing its own baseline. See, blue one is the baseline and the yellow one is the budget. So this project has already assigned the baseline. So if you are taking out the data, so that means the baseline of each project, the planned values of each project are taken out. The earned value for each project is basically taken out. So that's how it is going on. So you don't need to worry about that which baseline to select, which you can say it's data date to select. So if you have followed the step which I have explained, all the data I have verified, it will be coming accurately. Means each project will bring its own baseline data, each project will bring its own schedule data date. So this was the thing. I hope it is refreshed there. Okay, so let's say the data is refreshed, and now I am going to, in how we can find the data is refreshed. So let's check. We have opened multiple projects in Primavera and we know that the budgeted total cost is coming 636 million. It's so much. So let's check that in Power BI. How I can check? I will go into this fact table and I will go into the budgeted total cost. So let's find the budgeted total cost here. Yeah, here is the budgeted total cost. I will go into the transform and into standard and I think statistics and sum that. I want to sum that. Okay, so it is coming 636, so that means the total cost is here. So I will delete that step. So that means everything is updated here. Similarly, we can check from here project ID as well, which is in the fact table. It was already present, so now we have these projects available, project 1, 2 and 3 projects available. So that seems okay. So next thing is that simply close and apply. So if your activity IDs are unique in all the projects, no activity ID is matching, so nothing will happen and everything will be smooth, and your project data means project model is now converted into the portfolio model. That was very simple case. But in case they are not matching, or in case they are matching, multiple IDs are repeating in the fact table, then surely it is going to give us the error. So let's see if the error comes or not. So the data is loaded. You can see there is no error. Only 8 errors are coming, so they are negligible. We can neglect that, and they are, I know, because of the format, so it won't harm. So the data is updated, everything is done, no error is coming. So now the whole dashboard and reporting system is for project level. So how we can portfolio level. So if I see this, the values are changed because we just verified in P6 that the total for portfolio was 636 million. So it appears that everything is changed, but the curves are not here, the S curve and all these things. So that means something related to the dates or timeline has happened. So we need to verify that. So how we can check that? So let's go into Power Query to check the data, that is our timeline matching or not. For that, I'm in this Power Query in the dates ID, and I want to see that whether my dates are accurate or not. How I can check that? First, I will go into P6 and I will see the project baseline dates at the top level, at whole level, starting from 25th May 2017 and ending at 31st March 2022. Okay, so we need to make sure that these things are available in our Power BI. So if I see that 25th May, which is, let's say, 24th May 2017, because this is the start of the week for P6, and it goes until, if I descend them, and you need to be patient because these dates will take the most time. Means out of all other queries, the dates are going to take a lot of time. So I will just make sure that it is, I don't want to sort that. I cancel that step. I didn't want to sort that. So they are sorted in this order. So I will go in the last. Okay, 143 is the last, where the value is coming 12th to 2020. So that means February 12th, because this is February, this is January, February 12, 2020. So I need to add 2 more years approximate, it says. So that means data is properly not coming here. So in that case, how you can do that and why it is happening? Because we didn't see any error, but still we know that the dates are not updated properly. So in that case, you need to make sure few things. Always check the source of any query. If I talk about dates ID, the source of this query is basically resource assignment distribution. So that means I need to go into the resource assignment distribution. If I click in resource assignment distribution, and if I go to, for example, let's say I want to first figure out whether, what about the dates? Definitely the dates IDs are derived from this area, which is 100% correct, but we don't know whether all the dates are available here or not, because we saw that the project finish date is 31st March 2022, which is 2 years after the dates available in our date table. Okay, so what we need to do, and we know that dates are derived from here because dates table has the source is equal to resource assignment. So now we need to rectify resource assignment. So I will go and check in the resource, because source, you need to select the source and you need to check the number of columns, that how many number of columns are selected. If I reduce it to, let's say, 15, so the time scale will be only until the 15th column. So what does that mean? For that, I will go into the resource assignment distribution Excel sheet. It is not 19 MBs because we know that the portfolio data always huge. So you need to make sure that if you are bringing so much data, so you need to be patient for that. So let's see how you can verify, because this is the data which is coming from P6. So let's see what is the last date here in this part. So last date here is 13th April, let's say, or maybe 30th March. So that means 2 weeks are delayed in this part. So I will go and check the project. This is the project which is coming in the last part, and see 14th April 2022 is the last date. 14 days delay if you add in this, so it becomes 14th April 2022, which is coming here as well, 13th April 2022. Okay, so that means the data in Excel is correct. So this is the first checkpoint. Whenever you find something irregular in Power BI, come to Power Query, check that. If you find something okay, because how okay, for example, I have tested the budgeted column, budgeted total cost from this statistic, go into transform and check statistic. So I was sure that the budgeted total cost is same, that means the data is here. Then I checked this and I found that the last date is not correct. Why? Because I checked it from the P6. Then I went into the Excel sheet, I checked that how the data was exported from P6, is it correct or not. That means the data source is fine. So the problem is something inside Power Query we need to rectify, and this is a common thing, it happens so many times. So you need to, these are the checkpoints which I was talking about that I will be explaining. So you need to make sure few things. How we can do that? First thing, we need to check that how many number of columns are available here. If I check that the number of columns are 262, while if I go and check the number of columns in my source where from the dates are delivered, where from the dates are derived, if I check the number of columns, they are only 150. So that means I need to change them to 262. This is the only point in our whole training where you are using the help of Excel to know the number of columns. So that was the issue. So I have just resolved the issue. Now if I have changed it. So now if I go in dates ID, it will take little time to change the thing, and it will bring the last date, which is the 14th April. So dates are still loading. You can see here it is loading in the bottom. So I think it will go until 19 MB or maybe more. So it will come, yeah, 19 MB. So now if I go and check the last date, it should be 2022, which is the case here. Okay, if you see April 6, so it has shown until this point. So that means the issue was that the columns were not selected properly, means number of columns. So this is the thing you need to do manually so far. Maybe in the later updates it will automatically pick, or maybe there is a way, to be honest I don't know. So I usually do this manually change. How? I know that the dates IDs are derived from resource assignment, and resource assignments source says the number of columns is this. So if I change into this, definitely I need to change into the activities distribution. If I go its source, it says the number of columns used 146, but we don't know how many number of columns were exported from P6. So let's go and find out activities distributed, and this is the time only when you are using Excel. And for portfolio, for example, you have brought 3 projects here. Next time if you bring 4 more projects, total 7 projects, so you will be doing the same thing, so that whenever you are adding new projects, so you need to make sure how many columns you are using. So here the number of columns are 259. So what I will do, I will change the status to 259 for this part. I will go in source and change the columns to this. Rows are automatically done, so rows we can verify them as well. And if I just click here, 259 columns. So just click here, so the data will be loaded for them. Similarly, I will check for the fact table as well, because I brought more activity codes for different projects, so maybe the number of columns are increased. So let's check right now how many number of columns are available in fact table. Go fact table, source, 29 columns. So now I will check from here how many columns. It says 42 columns needs to be loaded, so I will load the 42 columns. And resource ID, we didn't change anything. So these are the 4 main queries. All other queries are basically derived from them, so no issue. So it says that data is loaded, so I will be loading the data into the Power Query now. So the data will be coming. So then we will figure out if there are errors or not. So the data is loaded. If you see all the green ticks, that means the data is loaded, there is no major issue. So but if I see here, there are 2.8 million errors. So these errors are most likely the format related issues. So I will go into that and we will see how we can solve them. So they were in activities distributed table. So let's come in here. See, there are some errors, so that means something is there. So let me first check what are the errors here. So there is no null basically. So this will not be fine, we couldn't. Okay, let me check what can be the reason. So dates are okay. If I go for dates in this part, so the dates here, the dates are absolutely okay, and in dates ID part, the dates are absolutely okay, I think, because if it is okay here, it should be okay here as well. So yes, so in this part, what is the reason? Let's go to before unpivot and see the situation there. I found something. It's okay, no issue, no issue. Okay, this is the problem. Okay, you see what I found. I knew that the problem is coming in dates of this activity is distributed. Okay, so I went before unpivot in order to see that in each time period what is the situation. So if I go here and check that after February 7 2020 the situation is not good, means something is bad here. So it is bad in the data source, so I need to go into data source and rectify. So you might see there's some errors. So because I'm doing to teach you that how to resolve the error, so you need to be with me in order to check. So I'm going into activities distributed, because to be honest I didn't know that these errors can come, because I was loading this portfolio for the first time here. So these are new errors to me. So this is the way you can basically resolve the errors. So now you go into the 2020 and check after the 7th February. So I am in 2020, and here this is the case after which the things appears to be not okay. So let's say I will come here. Okay, it says 7th February. Okay, if I see there is no 7th February first of all, or I will go into Power Query and it will say 31st January then 7th February. So if I go into activities, because we are looking at activities distributed, 1st January, 29th January. Okay, it can happen because maybe I have used a different time scale in the P6, so no problem. Time scale means maybe, I don't know exactly, but maybe I have used the start of the week from here, for example from general, Wednesday, Tuesday, maybe it is changed, so that's why the time scale is little bit different, so it doesn't matter. So the question is that 5th February. So what is the problem here with the data source? Okay, so now I see that the format is same, there is no problem, format is same, so it's okay. So that means something happened above this query where I was standing here, so something happened above that. So let's check that what happened there. So you need to go back, replace the value. Okay, replace the value where value was replaced, in activity ID and activity name, so it doesn't matter. So that's how you can read that null is replaced. Okay, replacer dot replace value in activity ID and activity name. So that means other columns are not changed, these columns were present previously as well. Fine, rename the columns. If I click on that, okay, columns were renamed. Fine, removed split. So it doesn't seem that the error was in those columns. So the source, okay, after 7, okay, source says that after 7th February the columns do not have anything here. So that means we need to refresh that file, which I believe I will just refresh and check whether it is fine. I will refresh this file only. Let's see, 2020 February. So after column number 146 it is not showing, but in source I have changed to 259. So if I go before that, the problem still is there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just replace the source again. Maybe the data is not properly loaded. This is one of the thing I am expecting. So I'm going again, activities distributed, and in the data source I'm going to recall that again. How I can do that? Desktop, this is my source, activities distributed. I will just make sure. So if I just now refresh that, so hopefully it, because why I did that, I changed the number of columns to 259, but after column number 146 the data was not available. So maybe the source file was not properly updated. So this can be one of the reasons. So now if I go and check, see the activities distributed now is not showing any error here. So that means it is fine. So if I go back into my this, load that again, so I'm expecting that the error will be gone. So this is the thing how you need to basically check and verify the data. You need to go to the sources of each query and check number of columns are okay from the Excel, and you need to see if the errors are coming in the timeline. So the trick is that always go above and below the unpivot step, so you will get a very good idea where the problem lies. So with little bit practice, definitely you are going to resolve all this issue. And there are some other errors also come, so I will be looking into those errors as well. So first we will see that this is a simple procedure, like you have just opened multiple projects, you ran the report from P6 and you loaded the data. So if the activity IDs are not matching, they are not repeating, if they are unique, everything will be here fine, which was apparently fine, only the timeline data was giving some error. So we have almost rectified that. So in case your activity IDs are matching, they are repeating, so what you will do, because you need to make them unique, so we will see that how you can make them unique. Either you can make them unique inside Power Query, or you can make them unique in Primavera. In Primavera maybe you cannot make them unique. For future projects definitely you can. So the simple same procedure will be used. Open the project, run the report and read into the Power BI. But in case in the previous project you cannot make the activity IDs unique here, so how we can do for the old projects in the Power Query? So we will do that after this. So data is loaded and you see everything is now changed here. Okay, so this data is now showing for the portfolio level, because we have made some formula where the data is not, so just show the blank, so that's why it is showing the blank. We can verify that in P6 as well. So if I make it little down, so that is now showing the data for the whole portfolio in that. If you don't want to see these blanks, what you need to do, simply go into your, what is this, it is earned value cumulative. So go into earned value, that's earned value, and from earned value cumulative, it is here in cumulative, replace this VAR, only use this part. Okay, so if you use only this part of the formula and if you replace this part, remove this part, so you will not see break lines. You know, break lines comes when there is no value in this area, so that's why the break lines come. So it's up to you, but I feel this is also good to give you understanding that nothing was earned in this part, so you can check that. So let's say I will bring here my activity code. How you can use portfolio? Definitely you need to bring the project codes here. How? Go into the fact table, we know that it is in fact table, and bring the project name or project ID here, so it will give you the idea. So let's say I'm bringing the project name in this area. So now you can filter for the project. You will find here 3 projects which we brought. So let's say if I click on this project, so the data will change for this project. Similarly, you can use the other project. So you can see the project data is changed for this project. The total value is 493. If I go into P6 and check, the value is 493 for G20. So this is how you can bring the portfolio data into this dashboard and model. So for definitely portfolio, your reporting analysis will be different. So you can modify that at what level you need the report, at what type of reports you need. Maybe you don't need everything there. So you are making report for top management, high management. It's your choice. So dashboard design you can do later, you know how to do. We have discussed that in part number 7. So we found that the same model which we have created can be used for the portfolio level as well. We didn't do anything. So we can do all the same step which we did for single project. Like we want to drill down, so we will see drill through how many options are available. So you will be adjusting for your project, because portfolio have different type of projects, so your reporting analysis can be different. So you can make the reports, and you can use if you want to use drill through, so what type of report you need, so you can go there. So if you go and check the trends, so similarly trends will be available to you in the same manner. If you want to check for single project, the same thing, you need to bring the project codes here, project as a filter, so you can filter them out as well. So there is one more trend I have made. This was not present in part number 9. So you can see here, you can use the schedule variance and cost variance as a cumulative. It is very good, because in that report I didn't prepare that, but if you are analyzing the variances, schedule variance and cost variance, so you need to make the cumulative value. Now it is giving me the good idea that in the starting part I was behind, now then I went up, going good, then still I am going good. So in this part, if I go into only descriptive analysis, it is giving me the period performance, means it is giving me the variance of that particular period, but it is not telling me that whether I am overall good or bad. This is the trend of only that specific period. So cumulative you can develop as well. So what you will do for the cumulative, nothing, only take the cumulative of the schedule variance. Similarly, just like the others, if I show you here, see, this is the schedule variance. We have created this. Now you will do this. Similarly, similar like you can say the cost earned value cumulative, just like that. Run this this, and for example go into the quick measure, and against time period you can do that. I have done from there as well, from the quick measures. So you can develop. You cannot do the cumulative for SPI, because SPI cumulative means it will be adding into 0.1, 0.2, it might go on more than 10, so you don't need it. SPI is a index, it's a ratio, so it cannot be having means the cumulative values. So it's fine so far. So the remaining analysis is same, you can do for single project or multiple projects. This analysis is always difficult in Excel, because you have so many different things in all different projects. So in order to make them in one dashboard, it's a big challenge in Excel, but in Power BI it's very simple. Now I will just show you here again. I will bring my activity code as a project, so I can filter out the project based data. So let's say this is my project name. So now you see, imagine if you have like 20 projects under you, different site, different location, different countries, you can check the data of all your project at one place, and it will be just, you know, with a click. If you click here, if you click here, the data will be changing. The budget value you will see, it will be around 86 million. The planned value, see, 85, 86 million. Everything is changing. It is telling us what is going on. So why it is shown here? Because the date is selected here is so old. So if I take the date back, because this project started in 2020, so it is selected 2020 and 2019 right now. So I need to take the date forward. So if I take the date forward, definitely you will see some data is coming, because I know that, I'm sure that the data will come, because the date, see, the dates of this project are after 2020, so it is coming here. Why data is not here? Because the activity code selected here is for another project, which is G+20, so I don't need that. In order to see this project's activity code, definitely you need to bring this project's activity codes from here, and this project has activity code from 1817. So if I bring 1817, let's say floor, So if these values are available, it will show us, see, division 1, division 2, division 3. These are the activity codes. So you know also one thing now, that if you are using the project level information at one place, so you need to make sure whatever project you select, activity code of that project should be available there. Okay, so that will help you in designing your reports. Maybe for example, if I by chance I select this project instead of this, I will select this project, here data will be gone because this activity code is not available in the other project. In this project you will see that all these values will be gone. So if you are using the CIS codes which are common for all the projects, then you can use them, but you need to make sure that CIS codes are also assigned in the Primavera. So these are the things you need to make sure for the portfolio analysis. So that's why I'm not making the portfolio dashboard. It's your choice, whatever way you want to analyze, but you know how the data is filtering so that you can analyze them separately as per your requirement. So we will now see in the other way that if your activity IDs are not unique and you cannot change them inside P6, so what modification we need to do in our model so that the portfolio reporting can be done. So let's go into that part now. So now I am back in P6. Here what I am going to do, here I am going to make sure that the activity IDs are repeating in all three projects, okay, so that we will see what type of error will come and we will see what basically how to resolve that inside P6. So let's say that this activity ID is repeating in my other projects as well. I will replace it by this activity ID. And I am making sure that this activity ID, let's say any random activity ID, is repeating in my this project. Okay, so they are repeating. So if the activity IDs are repeating, what type of error we will see? First of all, I will go into this and I will show you that what type of error we can get. So run the reports, this part first, second, and in the same folder drop them. Okay, so they are the reports will be ran. In the meantime, I will explain few things that you need to make sure that your activity description do not have following things. What following things? The comma, you need to make sure that you do not have this comma in your activity ID description, in activity name description, and this double quote. Okay, so if you have this in your activity name, what will happen? For example, if I show you here how you can have, some people put like this. So if you put like this in your activity name, so P6 will divide this one column into two columns, one from receive building and the other column will be permit. So this you need to avoid, that you do not have this in your activity name at all. So this is the thing. And my reports are ran, so I will just refresh here and we will see if we find any error or not, because we made sure that the activity IDs at different project level are repeating. So but for Power BI it doesn't matter, different project or same, for them it is a single column. So see what error we are receiving here. The column activity ID in the table activity fact table contains a duplicate, okay, and this is not allowed. So straightforward rejection by Power BI. So that means we need to make the activity ID unique and we cannot do inside P6. So now we need to find a way somehow to do that inside Power BI. So let's see how we can do that in Power BI. So first we will go into this part, Power Query, and we will see that how activity IDs are defined and in which columns they are defined. So in activities distributed we have activity ID, activity fact table we have activity ID. Similarly, resource assignment distribution we have activity ID. So these three queries and the tables have activity ID column. So and we know that the steps we have done. So what we can do, we need to make sure that they are unique. So how we can make them unique? So there are a few options available in the Power Query, for example, if I go in transform, and there is an option which is available here, merge columns. If I select two columns, so I have the option merge. So if I merge these two columns, so there is a chance that the activity ID becomes unique. Okay, so similarly I need to do for others as well, but we don't know, maybe there is, it is possible that the activity name and activity ID both are same in other projects, so it will not be unique. So in order to make them unique 100%, we need to see, or we need to recall one definition. We learned that the project ID is unique, it will never repeat. So let's say if my activity has A1000 which is available here, and A1000 which is available here as well. So if I combine project 002 A1000 and project 1817 A1000, so that means activity IDs will become unique 100%, they will not be repeated. So how we can do that in Power Query? So let's go into Power Query and see. If I go in activity fact table, so I see here the activity IDs, project ID and activity ID is available. So if this activity ID is repeating in this part, okay, so if I concatenate, means if I connect them together, combine them together, so what will happen? They will become unique. So how we can do that? So we can simply merge them. So we can merge them in the same as a if you do in transform, so the single column will be merged, means if they merge and they will be in the same column. If you do in the add columns, so they will be adding a new column, but we don't need that. So we will be doing in the transform, and I will do that, sorry, not this, I will bring it here, reorder this, and merged columns, separator. Let's say I want the separator of comma, oh column, sorry, merged. So now they are merged columns. Okay, both the columns are merged. So you can you need to name it activity ID, because we know that activity ID was the unique column. So this is you have done. So activity ID and project ID are now merged, so they become 100% unique. So same thing we need to do, because the activity ID is changed here, but in resource assignment distribution it is not changed, it is same, it is different. So we need to make sure. So but if you see here, we do not have project ID here, project name, we do not have both the things, we didn't bring them from the reports. Similarly, if I go in activity distribution, activity distributed, we do not have it here as well. So what we need to do, that means we need to modify these things in our reports in P6. So let's go and do that. I could tell you that earlier as well, but I showed you that what way we can do, and then I will tell you that how we need to bring the same thing which is present in fact table. We need to bring the project ID here in activities distributed and resource assignment distributed as well. So let's go into P6 and find out. So in P6, first of all, I will be opening this activities tab and show you that how the project IDs are behaving here. So let's see, this is the project ID. Okay, that's my one project. Okay, project number 1817. So activity ID is project ID is here, project name is here. So this project name is coming from this place. You need to change, you can change that, means whatever the project name is there, it doesn't matter, but project ID should be, you know that which project you are talking about. Similarly, these are now the project IDs which are combined with the activity IDs. So in activities window, which will give us the data for the activities distribution and fact table. So we know that how we can get, we need to look after the project ID and project name. But what about resource assignment? So let's go and check how it looks in resource assignment. If we go in resource assignment, the same project ID which we are finding here, because we are looking for this, so we need to see where these IDs are available in resource assignment. So in resource assignment, in column, if you will search project ID, you will not find, you will find project. So project is actually the project ID. If you see here, see, this is the ID which we are looking for. So that means I need to look for the project. So this is the thing. Now where to look for that? We will go into the reports. Okay, these are the reports. Now I will go into the activity distributed. I will go into modify that report, go into wizard. Okay, go into the current use current screen, and I'm in activities distributed, and I know that distributed means time scale data, so that means distributed from here, and activities is telling me that I need to go into activities next. Where I'm going to change the things, I'm going to change the things in column. Why? Because in activities distributed, these are the columns. I have only 2 columns. I need to add here the project ID so that activity ID and project ID can be merged together. So that means in columns I need to bring the project ID. So from where you can bring the project ID, let's say you will go into the general, and from here project ID and project name you will bring easily. So these are the 2 things you needed here. Fine, everything will remain same, no need to change, all the things are same. If you go here, these are also the same things, you don't need to change. Simply what name you will give? Activities distributed. If I see the name is same, distributed, yeah, you need to make sure because it will override. Save. Fine. Okay, same thing I will go for here and do time distributed, because we know that resource assignment distribution is telling me that data is distributed on time. So resource is telling me that I need to bring the resource assignment. Similarly here it also says the role assignment. So if you are not using resources in your project, you are using roles, so the same procedure you need to do, you will be bringing out role IDs. I will show you here. Here I am using resource IDs, you will be bringing the role IDs, which you will find somewhere here in your roles, maybe in the resource project code general, I think somewhere here you will find the role IDs. Yeah, here role ID, you will bring that. So this is just to give you information, because I am using resource and mostly people use resource, so that's why I brought. But this model is highly flexible. Whenever you want to change, you can change the data. So now here we know that we need to bring the project. So where we can find the project is here. This is in general, you will find the project. So just bring the project from general. So you will not find here activity project name. So just forget about project name. We are making project ID as a unique, and project ID is the thing which is unique. Project name can be same, so we don't care. Same thing, no change here as well. If you want, you can bring here remaining late unit as well. It's up to you, because if you want to see banana curve, late unit and early unit, it's your choice, you can bring here. Similarly, I will go here, activity, I need to give the name resource assignment distribution. So I will give the name resource assignment distribution. Okay, this save. So the report is saved. So in order to check whatever changes we made, are we going to have them or not? So just go again and let's see, modify wizard, and this is resource assignment distribution. So time distributed data, resource assignment, and let's see the column. See, the project is already there, so that means we have modified it. So cancel it, I don't want to change anything, cancel it and cancel it. So these are the reports. So now I will run these reports, and I will bring this data into our model, and we will see what type of modification we can do. And this modification will be for the first time, so you don't need to do it every time. But the thing what we are going to do, I'm just recalling that we had a problem that in Factable we can do merge for activity ID and project ID, so we did that. But now the activity IDs are changed from these tables, so we cannot connect them in the data model relationship. So I need to bring the activity ID and project ID in this column as well, in this table as well. So for that we are doing all the things, that we are redefining our model and we are bringing extra things through reports. So now I will run the reports. So my project IDs are also exported and they will be dropped there as well. So again, same folder, I know that, and I will be running them. So the reports are ran. So now I will run this in Power Query. I will refresh that data and we will see. Now the data is here and it is telling that the spreadsheet field is not available. So go to the error, and spreadsheet field is not available to them. So what we can do that, we need to check that why this error came, because replace value. Okay, so we need to see that something in power, something in Primavera. So we need to make sure that these values where the time scale is given, they are having the same spreadsheet field which we did previously. Means we went into this part and we changed the data here, double click, and we said that custom text, and it was spreadsheet field, because this text is now read already by Power BI. So Power BI is expecting the spreadsheet field there, but it was not there, so it gave us the error. Same thing here, modify in this part date range, and I will say text and same spreadsheet field. Okay, now so I have done here, so I will quickly do into the Excel sheet just to make sure that it's easy, because it takes time. Whenever I run the report, I need to pause the video because it takes nearly 1.5 or 2 minutes sometime. Data is huge, so I will quickly do here in this part spreadsheet field. Why I'm writing this? Because we have previously ran the report in our model with this spelling and everything, so that's why it is asking us that I didn't find this value where it is. So I am making sure it is available in this and also in activities distributed. This part and replace that. So save it. So if I now refresh this, it shouldn't give this error technically. Okay, so if I refresh that, this error is gone, you see. Okay, because this is spreadsheet, we wrote spreadsheet, so it is coming here. Otherwise, if you change the project, so project start and project finish is different for every project, so it will not read the value. First time it for example, it is reading 1st January, next time there is no 1st January, so it will give error. So we made this unique. Okay, we have here 2 errors, so we don't know why these errors are here, so there can be any reason. So in order to see the error, just go above this unpivot and you will see the reason. So far it is fine. It doesn't, because this is the last date, so it is okay as well, no issue. We will see what error came there. So now the main thing which we want to do is check activities distributed, and we need to check whether we brought the project here or not. No, there is no project. Okay, the thing which we need to now look after is that you need to understand little bit patterns of this M code. So what happened here, I will just try to explain you easily, because this language is a little bit difficult, but if you see the pattern, you will understand them. If I go here and if I just go unpivot, so what unpivot is saying, it is saying that table.unpivot columns, okay, unpivot the columns which these 3 columns, and these 3 columns were present before. We did unpivot how? If I go in fell down, we unpivot from here until the last. Okay, so that was the case. But now what happened, that we have 2 new columns. These are the 2 new columns. So it wrote the text as unpivot everything in this sheet other than 1, 2 and 3 columns. So it didn't pick these columns. So now we need to go, and I will just do this, copy this, and I will go in unpivot and I will add that step. And in fact I will copy from here, copy that, and I will put comma, and in between I will paste it. Okay, similarly in between I will paste it, so it is there. So what I need to paste, first I need to paste project ID. So now I'm telling that either you can do all these steps again by yourself, or you can just change the codes here. I'm saying that now include the 5 tables or columns, not 3. So project ID, and the other one is project name. So it should be same. If it is small n, it should be small n. If it was capital P, it should be capital P. How you can make sure what is the value? See, there is some error. So I will go back in this part and project ID and project name. I will copy this. I will go in unpivot and I will go into project ID. I will paste it. Okay, just give space. All the space doesn't matter in this case. See, there are 2 comma, that's why the error came. So now error will be gone. See, error is gone. So now you won't find this error in the date as well, because the date was giving error for project ID and project name. So what I did, basically there were 3 columns selected. Power Query was saying that other than activity ID, activity name and spreadsheet, unpivot everything in this sheet. So they were also unpivoted. Okay, but now we have said that include these 2 in your case as well, project ID and project name. So this is the thing I did. If I go above, so what this says, it says replace activity ID and activity name, but we need to do this for them as well. So what I'm going to do, the same thing, I'm going to copy from here the project ID and project name. You can do them as well. I'm saying that copy them one step above and paste them here. Okay, you see, so if I see, you will see them to be filled down. See, now they are also filled down. So this is the thing. If I go above replace value, where I replace the value, I replace the value null in this part. So I need to replace the value here as well. So the same thing I will do, I will paste them here. So once I paste it, you will see them, null value will be coming there as well. See the null value. So this is the pattern you need to understand. If I go above, what it is saying, it is saying that the activity ID 0.2 means what we did. Now we need to come from here, remove the top rows. Okay, promoted headers, fine. Project name, project ID and project name, split column by delimit. So in that case, we did split only this part, because we don't need to split this project ID. Project ID didn't have any space. So in case it have, so I am telling you that how this Power Query is working. So in case there is a split or there is a space in project ID, so you need to split that as well. So but here it is no split, so you don't need to go further. Rename, because I renamed the activity ID, replace, done, fill down. Okay, it is done so far. So before unpivot, what I'm going to do, I'm going to after unpivot I will do that. Here the last thing. So in the last thing, I'm going to say that merge activity ID and the project ID and merge them with, let's say, anything you can select here. Colon I will select again. Okay, merge them, so they will be merged again. Okay, so these are the merged columns. So I can reorder them. It's up to you if you want to. So this should become my, what it will become my, activity ID. Okay, so I have given this name activity ID. Fine. Same thing we are going to do for resource assignment distribution. Okay, so if you see unpivot, you might find here error as well for that time. Actually, yeah, maybe somewhere here, because if I just check resource assignment, we do not have project so far here, so we need to refresh that. Let me refresh. See, the error is here, so that means we brought project ID and it gave the error. So what we will do, we will go back. I will go in, let's say, in the same part, go above. See, here is the project, it is giving the error. So what I'm going, before unpivot, before fill down, yeah, this is the area. I need to make sure that the project is inside this. So how, this is the name. Okay, so let's say activity ID, copy this part and paste it here with, place the comma as well, and now write this project inside this. So the same step followed, project capital P. Okay, so if you see that now in unpivot it will not be unpivoted. Okay, in this part I need to add. Okay, I added in the fill down in this part. So the same thing I will copy and I will go into the unpivot step in this step, and here it is saying that table.unpivot, okay, everything except for these columns, these 5 columns. Okay, and after the unpivot these are the 2 results, attribute and values. So we need to add the project into this part as well. So I am just going to add project here, paste it. Okay, so now it is saying other than these 6 columns, unpivot everything. So if I go down, means in this part, now you see project from this point it came here. So now project is excluded from the unpivoting. If I go in fill down, so project is not filled down because we need to put here as well in replace. Okay, see here null values are available, here null values are not. So I am just going here and space and add that. So once I do this, you will see the null will come here as well. See, null came. So now you will see the project will be filled down. Okay, so remove column. Above that all the procedures are same. So I will just make sure that from here this promoted header, split column for activity ID, okay, then change type one. Yeah, you change, I change few types, then remove column, we don't need extra column, and we name the column to activity ID. Okay, then the same things are going on. So after that everything is smooth, fine, no issue, change type to, and now I will do that project I will bring here just to reorder, no issue, because these are the steps recorded every time it will be followed, so we don't need to worry about that. I'm going to select this and this, okay, and I'm going to merge them with the colon. So whatever you select in first, you need to select in others as well with the colon. Okay, so there will be a new column, merged column. We need to give the same name. This is now the activity ID. We made activity ID is unique. Okay, so activity ID is unique. So now activity ID of this is unique, activity ID of fact table is unique, activity ID of activity distributed table is unique, and they are matching with each other. So there is small error in dates, we can find out what is the error. So it's not an issue, but there is one thing I need to make sure, I forgot that we have merged the columns, okay, but we need to make copy of that column once because we want to use the project ID as a filter as well. So what I'm going to do, after let's say changing type, I am going to say that the project ID make a duplicate column. Okay, so there is a duplicate column available now at the end of the, it always throws at the end. So you see here project ID is not duplicated because I added this. So we can make it, let's say project ID and dot, so that you will understand that this is the one, because we will be using it in the filters. So insert step, okay, no problem, as many steps you want you can, but if you avoid extra steps, so it will be good because all these steps are going to be repeated eventually. So the lesser step is good, but these are the necessary steps we have to. So now if I go in the last, now you will see what I did actually. Okay, it is taking little time to load because the data is so huge. So in the meantime I will go here and I will check what is going on in here, because the source for this is resource assignment, and resource assignment is fine, there is no issue with that. Distribution unit, dates, so it is refreshed. If I check this, yeah, this is a column. Dates are also I think fine now automatically, so it takes little bit time sometimes. So everything is appearing to be okay. So this project ID, this is present in fact table, so you need to make sure that after doing everything merge you need to make sure the project ID is available. So how you will do that? Project ID will be duplicate column will be there before merging. You need to do the duplicate. So duplicate will make sure that the project IDs are available, which we will be using as an activity code. So now I will close and apply, and we will see if the error comes or not. Let's go into Power BI, apply changes. So the data is updated and you see everything is fine here. So that's how you can do your portfolio reporting. If you have any like I have tried to explain all the methods and ways how you can convert the same model into the portfolio. So whatever changes we have done into this portfolio, so this can be applicable for single project as well. You don't need to worry about that. So it's up to you if you want to modify this here inside Power Query, or if you want to make sure that your activity IDs are always having the project code at the start to make them unique at project level, portfolio level. So I think this is clear, and it was necessary to make video for this because it was little tricky, and I needed to give you the concept of the project IDs, how they are unique, how we can bring them at what means in distribution table, what we need to do after merging, and in fact table, and in this part. So this is what basically it was required. So I hope everything is clear now. So in the next video, which will be most likely the last part, where we will discuss the financial period, store period, this part, financial period calendars, and we will see how we can use that. The reason to use them is to preserve the true trend of the project. For example, if we are seeing here the trends, so these trends are basically coming from the P6, but they might be changed, because let's say if your activity was planned for 2 weeks, but actually it finished in 4 weeks, so the trend might give the wrong value. So in order to understand, or in order to bring the true trend as built trend, so we will see how we can do that, and we need to use the store financial period for that. So in the next part we will be discussing that thing, and if I hope there are not many things remaining, so all the things are covered, but definitely I cannot explain everything of Power Query and Power BI in this small training, short training. So I hope the more you spend time inside Power Query and Power BI, the more you will be good at this. So see you in the next class. Thank you.